right, I'm going to start recording. So if you would all mute for a moment, that would be great. I'm going to do a little centering and grounding. So we can all be present. So what I'd love you to do for the moment is close your eyes and just take a couple of breaths. Feel your breath, feel the energy of air coming in and going out. And just notice your breathing pattern. There's no need to breathe big or anything. Just notice your breathing pattern. And you can take deep breaths if you want. And then try breathing with your mouth closed in and open out and see if it makes any difference. And then what I'd like you to do is notice that you have a body. And feel your body. Pay attention to the fact that you have a body. You might want to touch your legs or some part of your body, arms or something, just to connect with it, bringing you present to, oh yeah, I'm in a body and I'm sitting here right now. And then I'd like you to just focus on your hips. Just notice that you have hips and focus on your hips, because it is the fastest way to ground your energy immediately, to bring it to the center of your body. And then breathe from focusing on your hips. And then come back to aware of touching your body. Keep breathing. Don't forget to breathe when you touch your body. And then when you're ready, start bringing yourself back to the room that you're in. And pay attention to what your intention is, what it is that you'd like to learn and provide insight about on this call today. And if you want to take a moment to put something in the chat, feel free to do that. Otherwise, make notes so that you don't lose track of why you are here. Curiosity, okay. They're asking what your intention is for being here today, and what you might want to ask questions about, or what information or what you might want to provide in terms of insight. Okay, great. So I'm going to read some of these messages, and I'm going to read the messages in the chat. So we started off with Julia posting curiosity. I learn what you have to offer. Okay, yes, you want to learn what I have to offer. Also curiosity. Explore gifts. Learn how to connect with other light workers about my interest in channeling. Supporting you and curiosity. Open curiosity, what Pamela's offering. Okay, we have lots of curiosity here. which is a great thing. I love that you're here and that you're curious. So the format of this, so you know, is that I'm going to share some of my the downloads that I've been getting. Russell, could you mute for a few minutes? Thank you. I'm going to share the downloads of what I've been getting. And then what I'm going to do is open up for feedback, for curiosity, for answer your questions, whatever comes up for you. So I would love it if you took notes, if that's your thing, of what is showing up for you. And by participating in the conversation does not mean that you are going to say yes to being part of the program. I'm looking for feedback about if you were, what would matter to you and what is it that you would want. I'm also going to ask, if you're speaking, to please put yourself back on camera so that I can see your face when you are talking, because it's no fun talking to a non-face unless you're calling in by phone, and you can't do that. Okay. Thank you, Trish. Okay. So right now what I'm going to do is share my downloads that I've gotten about this program and why I'm even in this conversation. So if you've read my emails, which I'm assuming you either have read my emails or seen my post on Facebook, or you wouldn't have known to participate, you know that in my history, I have done a number of things to provide a platform for people to take some risks, to share their gifts. It started off a lot with choir, because I was directing choirs, and that was a format that I had available. So singing. But even before that, I would do stuff at church that didn't involve singing. And it was, you know, like creating a play or doing some kind of out of the box creative, something creative. It's always going to be in the creative realm. So what I have been recently talking with a couple of friends of mine about working with gifted leaders. Like, I've been called to work with gifted leaders, and it's like, what is the program for that? And what does it look like? And this has been going on for months. And finally, everything fell into place in the last couple of weeks for an actual consciousness of possible structure. And that is what I've been waiting for to show up before I could do any communication about this. So what I'm feeling, what's coming up, what's being through for me, Kathy, I'm going to mute you. Thank you. Is creating initially in Zoom a platform where people can share. And as I listed in the email, the options are obviously singing or dancing or something you can do on Zoom, reading something or doing miming or sharing your physical art. Like, I always have my art in the background of my computer because that's where it's hanging. And also other kinds of creative expressions, right? Maybe you're an actor and you want to do a monologue, or you want to do some kind of scene with somebody else, and but you're looking for a platform, you're looking for a place to do it. And I know how to do that. I have led many different kinds of groups having a platform.
Oh no, she got kicked out. There she is, she's back.
That was completely weird. All right, I'm asking for technology to be good and nice quality and keep working because we need it to do that. Okay, and I noticed that we're still recording, which is great. So my passion for this is I also want a place to, to sing. Like, I love to sing and I'm good at it, but I'm not great at it. And I want a platform to be able to share my voice because I love to sing and people have impact. It impacts people when I sing. So I want to have a place to do that as an example. So this is something I'm also doing with everybody else. That's not just other people. I also have been getting a hit about providing some education. I'm not sure what that is, but I'll give you some examples of what comes through. And also have been getting hits about feedback if people are interested. So this is not just a, you are gonna share your thing and then there's no communication about it, right? So the most important things is that you're willing to take the risk. You do not have to be perfect. You don't even have to be good. You can just have a desire to take a risk and do something without having to have it perfected, because the need for perfection stops people a lot, or the self-judgment about the quality of your capacity stops people a lot from being able to do sharing their thing. Or maybe you don't even have a platform to share your creativity. Maybe there just isn't an option anywhere in your life and you're asking. Maybe you're great at something, but you don't have a platform, right? So there could be a whole range of reasons why somebody might want to participate in this program. The education piece that came through was, for example, I've written a bunch of books. And so if someone is sharing something that they're writing and they want some feedback about it, that's an option, right? That's something that's a possibility. I've also been in Toastmasters for 12 out of 20 years from 1999 to 2019. I have tons of experience in public speaking. I have a lot of experience at learning how to hone content, how to get to the point, how to do something, to say something in 1.5 to 2 minutes, which is what in Toastmasters is called table topics. I have tons and tons of experience in these areas, and I also have a lot of wisdom to share about it. So there could be education on different topics. Music, obviously, I've been directing choirs I directed choirs for 17.5 years and sang in choirs most of my life. So I have a lot of experience in different kinds of areas. I'm also an artist, I'm a photographer. I have a lot of different kinds of skill sets that I can bring some education to the program. So that's a possibility. And that's one of my questions is anything like that of interest, right? Would that be something that would be interesting to people? The other piece about the feedback is if you, and it's not a requirement, but it's an option, if you present something and you want feedback about improving, great. It's like I said, it's not a requirement. It doesn't have to happen. Maybe sometimes you do, maybe sometimes you don't, but it's not, so I don't want to leave out the possibility that if you're asking for that and you don't get it, that you're feeling disappointed. So those are some of the downloads that I've gotten about the content, kind of the form of the program. I don't have yet details because it kind of depends on what comes up on how often we would meet and what the cost would be to participate and how often anybody would want to participate, or if we have a month that's focused on one thing or whatever. I don't know. All of that is completely up in the air at the moment, and feedback is very welcome about all of that. And if I have left out any kinds of types of styles of sharing that people want to do that didn't get included on my list of things, I would love to hear that, because I may have just like skipped over it, forgot it, didn't occur to me. And so I would also like insight about that as well. And the last thing is that for me, for this to work, it would need to be something that's happening on a regular basis. it would need to be either weekly or twice a month. It wouldn't be less than twice a month. And that doesn't mean you would have to attend every time, but you could if you wanted to. It also is about learning how to be present with other people who are sharing and supporting them in their risk-taking and honoring their courage and honoring their process, whether they are good at it or not. But just having a place for someone to take a risk and feel safe to share something about who they are or some creative expression that they have. And you can do more than one. Like I said, I have like 6 different creative expressions, and at some point I probably would share a lot of them over time, right? I wouldn't just always sing, and there would be other things that I would do as well. So I'm just saying that there are lots and lots of possibilities about how all of this can go. And now I am ready for feedback. So let me share how I would like this to happen. I would like you to raise your hand either literally like this, or there's a little something someplace. Drew, where is the raised hand thing? Do you know? Isn't there, like, is there like a reactions?
If you click participants, it'll bring up the list of participants, and on the right-hand side is a button that says raise hand.
And if
Oh,
you-
okay.
If you go to reactions, one of the reactions is raise hand as well.
Okay.
Well, that's got clapping and a thumbs up.
Oh, okay.
It
That would
depends
also,
on,
but that would also work for me.
yeah, it also depends on your computer. My computer has raise hand literally written out as an option.
Oh, aren't
Okay.
you lucky?
My iPad doesn't do that, but the computer does.
Okay, so anyway, I would like you to please, and also, you know, so the kind of feedback I'm looking for is the answer to the questions I've asked, but also now that I've shared this, like, what's landing for you? What am I missing something? Is there something you'd like to suggest or add, or something you'd like more detail on, or whatever? So it's a discussion, but I would like to have one person at a time so I can hear everything. And I like order, so it would be helpful for me if you acknowledged that you're wanting to just, so, all right, so Trish, you're raising your hand. So feel free to speak. I can't see you very well because of
I
the,
know. So
lighting.
that's it's the lighting, and I meant to, yeah. I can put it. Do you want
don't
me to
worry
put it?
about it. Good, just talk right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Okay. I have a quirky way of presenting artwork that I'm wanting to complement my message in how I help people with their life purpose. And so I want to make sure that the artwork complements and elevates the work that I'm doing versus making it too juvenile, or some of my artwork gets too complex. So basically it's the hero's journey, and I have used different archetypes for the adventure that people choose for their life purpose this life.
So are you saying you want to present this and get feedback on it, or you just want to present it?
I mean, I get it. Sorry to interrupt you there. I get a variety of feedback. Some people think it's too juvenile, too busy. Other people love it. And so they just might not be my audience, or I might need to tighten that up with my messaging and the words that I say. So it's a cross between Toastmasters and this art that I do.
Okay.
So, you know,
Good.
I
Okay.
won a design award for the app that I did in using the artwork. So I know I'm on the right track to some degree, but I would like feedback on that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, who's next? All right, Sandy.
Okay, so I'm just sharing, Pamela, what came through to me when you were talking about the download was that this is like an online version of Toastmasters, but for creative expression. So there's, yeah, that's just all. I just wanted to, that's what came through to me, that it could be, it has a framework around it, and yet it's loose at this, it's flexible at the same time. So that's what I heard there. As to my what's drawing me is I'm not too sure that this is for me, because I'm not picking up any audio creative expression that I want to be part of. So it's so that's why I was like curious today, would something actually pop through, and it may still pop through, but at the moment I'm just getting a complete blank as to what I would be able to contribute.
Yeah, okay, great, thank you. Yeah, it's way, to me, I understand the Toastmasters conversation, and I want it to be so much more than that, because Toastmasters is a very structured, limited focus, yeah. But I hear what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, flexibility there, lots of flexibility, yeah.
Yeah, good, okay, thank you. Anybody else? Really? Nobody else has any questions, comments, insight? Julia?
Well, I have a couple things.
Oh, we'll do Russ first. Go ahead, Russ.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
No, you're talking. Go ahead.
I contacted Pamela about 2 weeks ago, and I also made a post in the Facebook group that I then took down because it was inappropriate. But I'm interested in letting people know that part of my intuitive work has gone in the direction of channeling divine beings. And so if there are people who are interested in that, I'd like to be able to connect with them. And the other is that I'm offering a program for people who are interested in learning how to channel divine beings. And so I was looking for a place in which I could let people know what that program is about. And so those are the main things that I'm interested in.
Okay. So you're really more interested in networking as opposed to sharing a skill set or sharing a talent?
Oh, I'm more, I have a hearing problem and I'm still.
Yeah, that's right. Are you,
Yeah.
it sounds like you're more interested in networking and sharing what it is you do, but not necessarily sharing your skill set in the group.
Well, I hadn't really thought about that. But
Well, that's what it sounded
yes.
like what you said.
Wait,
So-
no, wait a minute. Yes, what you played back to me is correct.
Okay,
What I'm saying is I hadn't really thought much about offering my skill set around channeling.
okay.
And I'd be willing, that'd be interesting to me.
All right, thank you for sharing, Russ. Okay, all right, Julia, and then Kathy, and then Trish.
So I guess my question would be like the structure and also probably the commonality of the group, or maybe just the commonality of the group is everybody. It's almost like potluck. People come from different walks because you know people from different areas of your life, right? So, it's just a matter of like, okay, so that'd be the structure because, you're saying there's a risk taking and there's a sharing. And there'd be like, I would think there would be some kind of like time.
Oh,
something,
yeah, yes,
know.
there would be, yes. There would be a time structure for sure, yeah. And, depending on whether or not education gets included and feedback gets included would be part of the structure. So that's why I'm asking for feedback. Is this something that people might want sometime? Because that would depend on how it gets structured, right?
Right.
How much, and do we meet for an hour? Do we meet for an hour and a half? I mean, these are all questions that are up for me based on what we end up doing,
Because I think some of what you mentioned would be personal coaching with you as well, or that type of thing as well. It could be, because you're giving feedback on content, you know, in a book or content in a class, your curriculum, something like that.
And beyond, more than content would be presentation style. How are you breathing? Are you, like if you were like in Toastmasters, when I would provide evaluations for people, one of the things that I would talk with people about is if they put too much content into a speech and had to talk too fast, there's no breathing space. Not about the content, that would be a delivery conversation, right? So there's that, like different things related to that, right? Or if there's a way that people are, the way, I don't know, like if singing, for instance, if there's a way that you run out of air, how do you breathe so that you don't run out of air, or you learn to phrase things in a different way, right? There are different kinds of feedback depending on thing. With writing, because I've been in many writing groups, it's how I got all of my books written, is depending on what the person wants for feedback will depend on what I provide. Some people want grammar. I'm really good at grammar. They want grammar, or they want some information about sentence structure, or they want feedback on something, you know, like how is it flowing, or am I missing something, you know? So it depends, right? But it's a really good question. It's a really good question. I'm not sure the format yet because I wanted to, you know, I could make it up totally. I mean, not like I can't do that, but I wanted to get feedback from people before I dove in with that. So yeah, but that's a great question, is the structure of it. Yeah, it's, you know, I have a vision, but I wanted feedback. Okay, thanks. All right, Kathy, and is it possible for you, Kathy, to show your face? So I know who you are, because I know a few Kathys with a K. You're muted.
Hi, Pamela. The simple answer is no.
Kathy, who are you?
I'm Kathy from Wisconsin, and I've been in a couple of your groups, so I know.
What's your last name?
Clegg.
Oh, Kathy Clegg. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, so what were you gonna say?
Well, my ability to respond is slower than usual. I had a stroke 6 months ago, so I am rebuilding myself, and so thinking and doing things is much slower. So this is kind of the first thing from the past that I've kind of felt safe to reconsider. And again, because from my stroke, I had the whole right side of my body not usable. So I'm building everything back. So I feel like it's a rebirth that I'm doing. And I'm reinventing who I can be going forward. And so I really liked your concept of asking for people to help you create this, because I feel that's absolutely what the type of community that I want to be a part of, is just co-creating things and figuring them out as we go along, what's works for our needs. And I'll just say that my speech, I'm kind of searching for words, so my speech is slower than before, but it's getting better. And so the more I do things like this, the better it becomes.
Good. Okay. Yeah.
And the thing that I have been kind of gravitating toward now, rather than going back to the coaching and hand analysis stuff and that I've been doing, because now, of course, it's about my own recovery and sort of helping other people to stay up and positive when these kind of devastating things happen, and look at it more of, I was calling it the other day, my stroke of joy. You know, it's like I want to see that of course, and understand there's a reason this happened to me, and didn't happen to me, it happened for me. So I'm trying to look at it in that light, and I think I'm pretty good at it because I've come, I've grown a lot in many ways through this, and I think my progress has been really good. And even my doctor there said he was proud of me. So
Yeah.
so the thing that I am looking for this as a platform. What I have dabbled in along the way, and am interested in children and grandparents and mothers, and certainly mothers. So it's about education of children, and what I started doing was creating, even right before I had this, when the pandemic came, then I thought, what can I do? And I gravitated toward writing children's books. And so I have a little starts of that, just little, and I was with a person who was an illustrator, and in the meantime, he has passed on. So so I don't have that person anymore to collaborate with, but I whipped out something I had started before, and it was a rhyming children's poem that could be a book, and I completed that. So I would like to continue. I mean, they're very short, because it's probably for, under 10 years old. So I would like a platform to be able to read that and kind of just get more encouragement, as well as more other things that I would need to do to perfect some things, or just, so I've decided just to continue to write, and just
Okay.
continue with the ideas, and kind of not to necessarily publish to make money. I've kind of money's always been a struggle. So I've kind of now in a place to say, hey, heck with that, just do what you want to do. So and just create and make it fun, and that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Okay, thank you, Kathy, for sharing, and I appreciate you showing up for this, because yeah, I know other people who've had strokes, and the recovery process for them has also been a gift, right? So I really honor your journey with it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, Trish.
And good to see you, Pamelah.
You too. Oh, well, I can't see you, but good to hear your voice, Kathy.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I think I had forgotten to lower my hand from before.
Oh,
That's why it was still
okay.
up. So I'm learning the Zoom etiquette here too.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that either.
I figured it out because I heard you say, Trish, earlier. So if I can say a couple other things, though, I guess since I'm here talking about
Yeah, go ahead, because I don't see anybody else's hand up at the moment.
Okay,
So
gotcha. I have worked with a voice coach, so I do like that piece of it, where she has pointed out that I do talk too fast and I forget to breathe and all of that. So that is an important piece to remind me as I'm doing my stuff. And then just a little bit more on the artwork side. I'm very clear on my audience that they're going to be beginners. people I call woo-woo curious, that they want to know about, they're afraid to get into hand analysis and astrology and numerology, but they're curious. And so I want to explain it in a very beginner-like way, but I can go very deep as well. So I don't want to get it too beginner, but I also want to make sure I keep it in a clean format that doesn't get into, you know, Jupiter aligns with Mars in the 7th house and their eyes start rolling back. So
Yeah, I get it.
yeah, I know you get
Good.
it.
Yeah,
So,
thank you, Trish.
yeah,
All
thank you.
right, Sandy.
I just wanted to add that during this, listening to the others, it has occurred to me that, and thank you, Kathy, because it brought it forward for me through what you were suggesting for yourself, Kathy, was that this might be a forum for me to practice reading out my modern day parable about one woman's accidental quest for the truth. Now, it's been in the background quite very much in the background, that perhaps one day I would actually be reading aspects of the book. So this might be a forum to actually experiment with that. So just wanted to add that in case that also
Yay.
triggered somebody else in what they might be interested in using this platform for. So thank you for the inspiration, thank you for the memory, and yeah.
I had no idea you were doing that, so I would love to hear it.
Okay.
Which also brings up for me, if you're, one of the other options is if you're pondering something, you're thinking about something, you're wanting to create something, and you want some feedback for it because you haven't developed it yet. That is another possibility of what a group like this could provide, is, you know, tangible feedback on would that work, or what I would like, or what would be helpful to hear, what language might work, or whatever it is, if it's something's not formulated. So that's also a possibility. Okay, and there are other possibilities I'm sure I haven't considered yet. So, you know, it's just open and expanding. And thank you for mentioning, Kathy, about co-creating as we go along, because that's exactly what I see. I didn't say that, but exactly. It's not like, oh, we're going to do this and that's how we're always going to do it. That's not my style at all. So, you know, we'll start somewhere because we need to start somewhere, but it will grow and expand depending on who's involved. And what is being requested and what people are asking for and what's serving them and what isn't, and, you know, what more they would like. All right, so any more comments, insight, questions? Some people haven't said anything, and I just want to create space if you haven't, or if you have and you have something else you want to add. Sonia.
Well, I certainly understand Kathy and her efforts to recreate herself. I never had a stroke, but I'm at a stage in life where I am shifting into a much more expanded area and away from a very narrow and very negative space. I have done a lot of life. I didn't appreciate what I did then, but now when I look back on it, I see it had value to me, and maybe it'll have value to other people. So I'm looking to recreate myself, to put myself together from all the little bits and pieces of the past, and to find some form of expression. And that would be workable for me, and where I can contribute and in a way give back to the universe. for
Oh,
all
you've
that.
done so much giving back already, Sonia. That's not the issue. The issue is you being heard. So are you writing?
I'm writing, yeah.
Are you sharing it with anybody?
Not at this point, no.
Okay, okay. Just checking. We talked about you writing, that's why I was asking.
Right. Well, that would be the mode. That
Okay,
would be format in some way, or speaking. And speaking very, I hate commercials on TV, but it amazes me that in 15 seconds, they can get a message across that means something to people, that influences people. And that is a real skill. It doesn't have to be just 15 seconds, but a lot of speaking is a lot of blah, blah.
yes.
So to come to the point in speaking, to come to the point in writing, to come to the point in anything, rather than losing your audience out of boredom.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I'm looking for
yeah.
a way to focus that, to experiment with it, to whether it's speech or writing, you know, it's just different.
Okay.
So that's it.
I'm writing down because I get it completely. So that also is bringing up another piece of information to share, is that with whatever it is that you're doing, this is one of the things I'm curious about. How many of you are interested in getting feedback? Like, raise your hand if what you're sharing, you might want feedback on it. All right. Okay. And Sarah, you have something you want to share that you might be consider sharing because you haven't said anything?
I guess I was kind of hoping that it would be a little bit more free flowing instead of a specific time commitment, so that people could post videos or post things and we could look at it when it was convenient. Because I'm very leery with other things going on in my life right now of committing to specific time slots to show up. And but I have stuff that I would like to share, and I'd like feedback on. So we'll see.
So are you saying, could we also, in addition to meeting in person, have a Facebook group, for example?
Yes, that's more what I'm interested in.
You're more interested in doing that than having a physical connection time.
Right.
Okay.
Then, showing up at 6 o'clock on a Tuesday night twice a month. That's
Okay. That's
things
good.
are changing in my life, and
That I hadn't even considered that. So I'm glad you spoke up and said that, because it didn't even come into my field as an option to consider. So thank you for your outside the box, outside the structure, seeing things in a different way, perception. Yeah. Okay. How many of you like that idea of having like some kind of Facebook group or whatever? Probably Facebook, because it's the easiest place to do stuff like this. Okay, Nancy, yeah, you do work 8 to 5, yeah. Okay, good to know. Okay. Anything else? A couple people haven't. Louise, you haven't said anything, or Ellen, so I'm just want to make sure that you have. Sonia, did you raise your hand again? No, okay, it says Sonia raised your hand, so I'm just checking in with you. Louise or Ellen, is there anything you want to? You don't have to, I just am checking. Ellen?
First off, I have my video off because my connection is unstable. And so I leave it off when I'm not talking. I'm not sure where I am. There's nothing obvious that says, oh, I could use this group for this or that. And so I'm pondering. That's really
Okay.
where I am. And in terms of Facebook groups, I know people seem to think that Facebook is just absolutely wonderful, and it's not really on my radar.
Yeah.
So I'm
I
not
understand.
against it. It's just something that it doesn't yet have appeal to me.
Okay.
Maybe it could, but it hasn't yet. Ellen.
Yeah, I understand. It isn't for everybody. And it's just of all the platforms that are out there for social media, it's just the best designed for sharing at this point, to have interaction with people and provide feedback and stuff. Nancy, why don't you verbalize what you posted? I can't hear you. Can you speak up? There we go.
That better?
That's better, I think. Go ahead, say something.
Okay. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yes, I can hear you better.
Okay. I don't want to be a performer, but I have so many ideas for things I'd like to do, and I'm hoping to retire in a year or so. And I would really like to, other people who are doing things do inspire me. So I'm interested in this, having some kind of platform, but I'm not sure if it's appropriate or if people are more of the creative bent, in the performing capacity for this group.
It doesn't have to be performing. And what I'm hearing a lot from people is also like sharing writing related things. And so it may be just sharing writing. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to sing, you don't have to dance, you don't have to do any of that. You can just share something that you've written. If you want to do travel writing, because I know you've done stuff.
Yes, but I haven't shared.
I know. So here's the question, is what holds people back from sharing? Like, what are you looking for that you said yes to even being on this exploratory call that you want to share? Like, why now? Like, why are you saying yes, now I'm ready?
Because I want to move forward and actually do something with it. And I feel like I haven't really been expressing my gifts. And I can be very intuitive. I can walk in a room and just start picking up the vibes, and I don't always know what to do with that, but if an opportunity presents itself, like someone invites that opinion or perspective, I give it to them, and they're sometimes shocked that it's right on. I mean, I thought about setting up a table down at the park and charging, $5 or even doing readings for free, but I don't know. I'm exploring in this.
Yeah.
Late stage in my life to be doing this, but I'm tired of working for the man, and I need to do things for myself. So
Okay.
that's why now.
Yeah, I understand. Oh, we and I have been in this conversation in different levels for years. Without you sharing, who you are and your skill set. So, yeah. All right, thank you. Drew or Louise? Drew, do you want to say anything?
No.
Okay.
Most of the time I don't have a lot to share anyways, Pamelah. And most of my stuff I just share with you personally. So.
Oh, and you don't want a group to, you don't want to share in a group because.
Just not, I do plenty of sharing in groups. Like my entire life revolves around frickin' Facebook and like 12 Facebook groups that I have to manage. So when it comes time for feedback and stuff, I prefer one-on-one because I spend way
Okay.
too much. For me personally, I spend way too much time in group stuff.
Okay. I understand. We're going to talk
Plus, you know,
about that.
Plus, you know, I love you anyway.
I know you do. I love that you feel that way. It's mutual. All right. Louise, do you want to say anything? I don't think so. I don't know. Okay. So, all right, Sarah.
One of the things, if it ends up being a group kind of meeting thing, you know, it takes a lot less time to share jewelry or paintings or things like that than it might be to share someone who's writing a book and share a chapter, whatever.
You would not share an entire chapter, believe me.
Or you know, yeah, maybe it's a short thing. Maybe it's a short chapter, but
yeah, if it's like a maximum of a page and a half, yeah.
But I think that there needs to be some consideration of, you know, people not having too much time, that they you know, I just want to share this and I want feedback, but I don't want to be in the spotlight for 15-20 minutes or whatever, because I don't have 15 minutes worth of content to share. So something.
Right. So let me just clarify a couple things. Everybody doesn't have to use the same amount of time.
Okay. And
you
I
only
guess
have to have the same amount of time that you need.
Okay.
It might be 3 or 4 minutes. It might be 10 minutes, right? So it isn't everybody, it's not everybody gets equal time if that's not relevant. It's relevant to whatever it is you want to share. So I want to clarify that. And the second thing is, the thing that's coming up for me as I'm listening to you is, okay, it's safer to do it in not a group. It's safer to do it on Facebook. It's safer to do it where there isn't physical interfacing with other people. I mean, I can feel like I'm just feeling the energy of, oh my God, I'd love to write because I don't have to see people's reactions, right? And I can feel that I realize that one of my purposes of doing this is to take the risk to be more visible. And it's a risk. It's not because you're really comfortable with doing this already. It's to step outside the box in some way. And
I totally agree that it is a bigger risk to be in a group setting and to have all the focus on you instead of posting something on Facebook. My concern right now is just.
No, I understand. I mean, I understand life circumstances, but
Yeah.
I'm just responding to this feeling that came up about, oh yeah, it's so much safer to just not have to do it in the public venue.
All right. So if I could take like 3 minutes and Julia could take 10 minutes because she had something that she wanted to share, how do you schedule that? Do you just show up and raise your hand? Or
okay, so this is good. I totally forgot to bring up this part. Thank you for that. One of my other downloads was that when you know that you want to share something, this is part of one of the downloads I got, is that you would be in communication with me about what it is you wanted to share and how much time you thought it would take. In some cases, I'm going to have you meet with me ahead of time, depending on what it is that's going on. And we're going to talk through what it is that wants to be shared. Like that's one of the other options on the table. And it may or may not happen that way, but that was one of the other downloads that I got, is that there would be time with me to communicate about what it is that you're sharing and what is behind that. Like, so one of the things when I was directing choirs and people would sing solos or duets or trios or whatever, but especially solos, and especially if it was the first time they ever did it, I had conversations with them about what does the song mean to you and why do you want to sing this song? And, you know, what finally gave you the courage to take the risk to do this? Because, you've wanted to do this since childhood and now you're actually doing it. So what's going, what's going, I want to know the story behind it because it helps me know how to support you. Right. And what I did in choir performances, sometimes, most of the time, I would share the story either before or after the performance, depending on if it would bring tears or not. For me, if I started crying, I wanted to wait until after they sang. Or if I thought they would cry, I wanted to wait till after they sang to share the story about, oh, this is the first solo that Raina's ever sung, and she's wanted to do this in 2nd grade, right? Like stuff like that. Or when my nephew and I sang a duet at a Christmas concert, and he was 14, amazing voice. And we didn't tell anybody in the family we were doing it. And so we sang and then talked about what we had done in the rehearsal process and what that brought to it. And I was crying because I was so moved by the fact that we had done this and had, found a way for us to sing All Holy Night together. And it was amazing. So, things like that, sometimes adding the personal conversation around what's motivating something, not just sharing what you're doing, but what's behind it is also a very important part of the story. And so the possibility of meeting with me ahead of time is also an option. And again, it's just one of the downloads. I don't exactly see how all of that fits together at this point, but it will evolve. So, and then the other possibility, because I forgot about sharing this, the other possibility is setting up private time with me to work through anything that may be coming up for you around presenting. The fears, the concerns, the issues, the kind of feedback you want, like just, having private time as part of the program. Because it's going to be a paid program. I'm not doing this for free. Because I value my years and years and years and years of accumulated skill set and wisdom, and also just feels like it feels important that the people who are participating invest in themselves in some way, because I think it's going to make it easier to take a risk if you're investing something of yourself besides just showing up on a free call. So anyway, that's what's going on for me with it. Russ, you had something you wanted to say? You're muted.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that after I finished the hand program 6 years ago or so, I went around the world or went to a lot of places looking to learn how to use my intuition better, and eventually wrote about a 12-page little booklet that I call My Guide to Intuition. And so I would be interested in feedback on that.
Okay.
But also feedback on the course material that I'm putting together for people interested in learning to channel, and how channeling fits into spirituality.
Okay. Thank you. All right. I'm going to sing before we go. Any last comments or questions? Okay. All right. So here's what I'd love you to do, because when I sing, it is not for performing. It's for the experience of feeling energy and maybe healing or whatever. So I'd like you to close your eyes, sit back in your chair, focus on your hips, get yourself really grounded, and just feel the music. A dream is a wish your heart makes when you're fast asleep. In dreams, you will lose your heartache. Whatever you wish for, you keep. Have faith in your dreams, and one day your rainbow will come smiling through. No matter how your heart is grieving, if you keep on believing, the dream that you wish will come true. Just stay in your body for a moment and breathe. When you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back. Okay, you're welcome. Thanks, Ellen. All right, so thank you all for being here today. And if anything else occurs to you, you can email me or text me if you have my phone number. Thank you, Sandy. And, you know, any questions or insights or input, and I will be over the next week getting clear about the program format, and we'll start sharing things about that and what's going to be involved in the process. So yeah, thank you, Sandy. It was good to have you here. I'm glad you were here, and I hope all the curiosity has been quenched, and anything else that came up. You're welcome, Trish. You're welcome, Sonia. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to stop recording, and thank you all for being here, and we'll connect